Joining us now, we have Emily Stead with ByMethod Financial Collective and Cetera Investors. Well, Emily, it's so great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So what are some of the unique needs and trends that you're seeing with some of your younger clients, Emily?
Yeah, so what's great about the millennial generation, I'll start with them, is that they're one of the best retirement savers that we've ever seen. They are maxing out, 401k matches or retirement plans. They are really overfunding those vehicles. And I'm actually finding that has created a little bit of trouble for them because they are, on track to be set up fabulously for retirement at 60 years old or whenever it is. But when they are in their, mid 30s and 40s and they are planning weddings that are going to cost, $40,000 to $50,000, or, in my case, they're going to be in 7 weddings in 1 year, and that's going to cost you a lot of money, and it's not even yours. Or, you have to send your kids to daycare or preschool, and it's $1,000 a month. These expenses that are coming up really rapidly on the millennial generation are not ones that they were trained to kind of prepare for. So all of a sudden, they're sitting in a position where they have a substantially well-funded retirement plan and they're on track for that. But in a year, they're going to need to come up with all of this cash that they really weren't planning for. That's something that I have found has been a bigger issue now than it was with the generation before. The generation before was, a lot of them that are approaching or, coming through retirement right now, they were getting to the point where they were about to retire and saying, do I have enough? Should I have planned more in advance? Did I do enough when I was in my 20s and 30s? And now we're at the point where, they're good over here on the 20s and 30s. They've done enough for retirement, but all these other expenses are putting them in a really uncomfortable position today.
Mm-hmm. And how are you helping these younger clients navigate these different obstacles? Maybe having a fully funded 401k, but not having enough money for daycare.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be super unique to the client, which is, one of the reasons getting that financial advice can be so valuable and so important, because you really want to make sure that what they're putting together and the advice that they're recommending actually works. I find that a lot of the advice people get is not very tactical, and by that I mean it's very unspecific. Save into a high yield savings account. Well, how much? How much should I be putting in there versus how much should I be paying off on my credit card? How do I structure that cash flow? And I think that being able to get that really tailored advice is going to help them, navigate these upcoming problems. And, it's like anything else. The earlier you can plan for something, the better you're going to be. And so really it's just about trying to, sit with them and map out, not just when do you want to retire, but what do you have going on in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and what can we do today to make sure that you're in a good spot for all of those needs.
And why Cetera?
Cetera has been a really incredible place to kind of call home for, I think I'm at about 3-4 years with them now. So Cetera has provided not only really great technology and resources, but has also created a really incredible network of other financial professionals. And as someone that's kind of younger in the industry, it's been really valuable to have, kind of older brothers, older sisters in this community that I can go to and say, this is a interesting problem, how are you facing this? Especially when things are changing as much as they are in the current, economic climate. We're seeing different problems all the time, and it's really nice to kind of have a little bit of a support system and a sounding board for things when you want to make sure you're providing the best possible advice to your clients.
And it quite literally runs in the family.
It does. Yeah, my dad has been a financial advisor for 42 years. So it's just something that you grow up in the household with, and you hear him talking about it after work as much as he's like, I want to be done for the day. It's just kind of part of your lifestyle. But
it's Cetera as well.
He's also with Cetera. Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. So, I think that does help kind of cultivate, especially at the location that I'm in, that, it's more than a big brother. It's like, it's your dad. You're like, okay, help me with this, right?
Yeah. And you mentioned, what it's like being a younger professional in the industry. With someone with a long runway ahead, what does the future of financial advice look like to you, Emily?
I think that this answer is probably going to be a little bit different if you ask me today or in 5 years or in 10 years. But right now, it's really, it's balancing all the different parts of what you're trying to take care of in your finances. Like I said before, I think a lot of, the types of things people are trying to maintain in their personal finances are really out of balance. So I think that a lot of times people are looking for the ability to just get some advice without actually having to have an asset manager. So I think that's going to be something that we see a lot more of in the future. People coming to you saying, I just want you to sit with me for 2 hours and answer 500 questions that I have for you, and then I don't know that I, need you to be managing my assets for me. I think today, one of the bigger problems people are facing is that there's so much information so readily available. Google, TikTok, the Finsta, influencers, they are trying to provide good advice, but just because it is advice, it doesn't mean it's right for everyone. So I think people are getting a lot of misinformation these days, or information that is just improperly tailored to them, and they're running with it. So I think that being able to find a financial advisor that can sit with you in person and look at everything that you have and give you tailored advice is going to be something that becomes even more valuable as this information continues to snowball.
Mm-hmm. And there aren't a lot of women in the industry. It's getting better, and Cetera is the leader there. But how are you working to change that through Cetera? Yeah,
absolutely. I think it all starts with us, right? It's about recruiting, and it's important that you're recruiting people that are good and that are going to be good for your clients. And I think what's helpful there is that the clients that I'm working with, enjoy having, a woman's touch is something that we hear a lot in the industry. Maybe it's empathy, maybe it's just, I'm not sure what it is, but so if I'm able to kind of continue to build a team and have more women on there, I know that my clients would be supportive of that because that's what they're already used to. So the Women's Impact Network has been incredible through Cetera because it really does kind of give you a little bit of a platform saying, I'm not alone in this space. I'm fortunate because where I came from, there was a lot of women advisors kind of in my orbit, so to speak, when I first started. So it was, a little bit foreign to me when I kept hearing about how this was such a male-dominated industry until, I was seeing the other people outside of Cetera and how their offices were primarily men, if not wholly men. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. They have great businesses, but, as someone who wants to thrive in this industry, that can be really intimidating. So I think just creating a space for women to be around other successful women in this industry has been really invaluable and pretty inspiring.
And one place where you're breaking down those barriers is at Connect2Impact. Could you share a little bit more about that event? Yeah,
absolutely. So Connect2Impact is it's kind of the Super Bowl of let's get everyone in one room and give them the space to collaborate. It's incredible because I have another advisor that I work with is not locally with me in Phoenix. She's actually in Michigan, and I met her at one of these events. And so I think that the connections that you can make with people that you're not going to see every day, or people that you would have never met in another reality. It's nice to be able to go into these rooms and just interact and, either meet your new best friend or meet a future business partner and someone who has kind of walked, the path that I'm on now. And they've been there, done that, maybe in a different time, in a different place, but, they understand the challenges and they understand, kind of where I'm at. And it's great to have that.
You never know who you're going to meet at one of these events.
You never know.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you so much.
And thank you to everyone watching. Once again, that was Emily Stead with ByMethod Financial Collective and Cetera Investors. I'm Jenna Dagenhart with Asset TV.